Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This week I have Danielle Laszcwski. Did I say that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey. And I brought Danielle on to talk about like equine programs in college because Danielle is my assistant at summer camp. Yay! So she is a performer, theater person, horse girl, trick rider in the making with her getting her horse ready and everything. So she helps me at my summer camps. And I'm just gonna tell like where you came from, a background of not where you came from. I'll let you tell that
Yep.
story. How you came into my life is Danielle locally took lessons over the summer doing some trick riding and then came to me for an internship because she was in an equestrian program at a college at a to get your associates, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yes. And equine management, yes. And
Yeah.
so having her be my intern, my helper at summer camp it worked out so great for both of us. And I love having Danielle at camp, and I literally can't do my big camps without her. So I think it was going to be interesting to talk about her program at college, especially for anyone around Danielle's age who's thinking about going to school for some horse stuff. It's not something that I know, so I brought someone who can give you more of the inside scoop. So Danielle, can you tell everyone kind of your background, your like just your horse riding, how you grew up riding and being involved in all that stuff?
Yeah. So, um, we pretty much we've had horses our whole lives. Me, my two sisters, me and my one sister Corey were kind of the most into horses. We pretty much just been trail riding our whole lives, doing some fun shows, some gaming. We were in 4-H for, well, my whole high school career, and then Corey, like most of our high school career also, I think. We did drill team, we did some games, we did some showing. So that was just kind of more of our growing up with horses. We weren't like super into like showing like pleasure or super into games or anything, just kind of like fun stuff. 4-H, just showing at fair, things like that. But she got into kind of training more, and I kind of liked it too. Thought it was always interesting. And then she went to River Falls, and she was part of the Colton training program there. And then after she was learning a lot more there, I got a lot more interested in it. So that was something I wanted to do as a career. So I found Ellsworth Community College down in Iowa. It's in Iowa Falls, Iowa. It's a community college, so it's only a 2-year associate's program. I loved it. It was so hands-on there. It was a very small program, so there weren't many people. There's about 50 students in the equine program every year, and that's through both equine management and equine science programs. So in each class, like hands-on, like practical class, there was an average of 5 to 7 students in it. And then in your like classroom classes, whatever, in those there was probably around like 10 to 15 students. There really weren't many. Some classes, if they were a lot more full, only had like 20 students. So you got a lot of one-on-one hands-on work and experience. So that was a lot of fun. That was a big part of it because that's how I learned best. So it was really nice to have that. So you either test in straight into management, or you start in equine science, and then you work your way either up to management or you just do your science degree. So I tested into management, which is more training geared. Um, and then the science is more obviously science, like some people do science and then go into like a vet tech program or something like that, or they just stick with science and going to like breeding and stuff like that. So I chose to go into management, test right into that. So we start right off with the training program, and we get to train from weanlings all the way up to adult horses, like so doing advanced training and stuff like that. So you pretty much get to work with all different ages, and you get 7 different horses within those 2 years of training to train. So you get a lot of different a big variety of horses to work with, along with our riding classes also. We experience a lot of different horses there as we go through those classes, and really just even our other classes in like horse eval where we learn to judge. We even do some practical kind of work where we go in and look at the horses in the barn, stuff like that. But yeah, it's really a really nice program, a lot of hands-on. It was so much fun and I learned so much from there. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you live locally or on site or in dormitories while you were at this school?
Yeah. So I lived in the dorms. They do have housing. They have dorms and then they have like apartments and suites that you can um live in. But a lot of students are some are local and then some find like apartments in the area and just want to live on their own. So all of that is an option. I just decided to make it easy and live in the dorm so I didn't have to worry about paying rent or anything like that. Um, but yeah, a lot of people, quite a few actually lived in apartments like near campus, and then they had their own horses and they would board nearby too. So they got to do that also. So there's some good opportunities to keep your horse down there also. But
And so the
yeah.
school itself has like a whole equine building or facility and
Mhm.
have indoor arenas, outdoor arenas, their own horses. Like what was the facilities like?
Yeah, so we had an indoor arena. There was no outdoor arena, but they are in the process of building that this summer actually. So I'm excited to see what that's like when I go back to visit in the fall. Because I get to drop off Lightning, the horse that I have from school. I'm housing him over the summer, so I get to drop him off. Then I get to see all the progress that they made on the building. So that'll be exciting. But they're making an outdoor arena this summer, and they're adding a bunch of different parking and stuff because they have the educational building where they house all of like the lesson horses and the horses that came in for the training programs, stuff like that. And then there's the big indoor arena, and then they have a couple lots outside that also house some of the lesson horses. And then they have another barn connected to the arena that's what they call the show barn. It's the barn that um groups rent out when they come in for shows and stuff or rodeos or whatever. So they rent that out throughout the year, throughout the summer, whatever. So, but yeah, so it's big, it's nice.
And the horses are owned by the school that you work with?
There's some that are owned by the school. I think they usually have like 10 horses that the school owns at a time. So if they do get any new horses in, they have to retire some because they can only have like up to 10. But the rest of the horses that the school has are brought in by outside owners, and they're brought in either for the lesson program, so like just for the riding classes, or they're brought in for the training programs, which I actually brought in one of our horses to one of the training classes, and that was a really fun experience too to kind of get to work with an instructor on him and his his training. So that was fun. But so yeah, it's really cool getting to see all the horses because you get, they're not just from the same people, they're not just from the same breeders. You see a lot of different. We've had some warm bloods come through, had some thoroughbreds. We had an off the track thoroughbred come through. We had, yeah, you get a lot of variety. So it's really nice to have that different experience. So
That's cool. That's
yeah,
because the more horses you can touch and the different types you can, work with, the more you're gonna learn.
yeah,
But,
for sure.
so tell me about the classes. Did you have general education classes along with equine lectures and then labs and riding? Like, what did your kind of schedule look like?
Yeah, so we really didn't have to do that many gen ed classes. We had to take like a basic math, social studies, and a couple English classes, but nothing too crazy. And then we had our first year, we had to do like pretty much basic like book knowledge of horses. So like, different, you had to learn like different types of hay and feed and stuff like that, nutrition. We would learn about, we had a class called breeding management. We learned about like coat color genetics, pretty much all like the anatomy of reproduction. So that was a really fun class. And then our other classes we had were, one was like stable management. So pretty much we got more into learning how to pretty much run a stable. And those were kind of the most difficult classes. They weren't too bad, but definitely not as fun sitting in a classroom. But no, those classes were nice. They were fun. We had horse evaluation, which was learning how to judge. So we learned how to judge a bunch of different classes from halter to, we learned Western pleasure, English equitation. Um, we did some watching some reining, just a bunch of different classes. It's kind of nice because we got to do what we were most interested in. Um, and we kind of got to choose what we wanted to learn about and stuff. So that was also nice too, because a lot of the basic knowledge classes that we had to take, um, like horse husbandry and stable management, we didn't have as much freedom on, but those other classes that we got to take, we had a little bit more freedom on what we wanted to learn and what we wanted to kind of go into in the future. So that was really nice. We had a lot of choices there. And then we do have like electives that we could take. So we had like training theory where we kind of studied some horse trainers. We learned about like different types of bits. We learned at different like tack and equipment that they use through training, stuff like that. And that was one of those classes where it was like very kind of lenient on what we wanted to learn about. So she kind of asked us what we wanted to learn in that class, and she kind of took that into account, which was really fun. So it's really nice having such small classes so we can kind of have that more one-on-one experience and kind of get to learn what we want to learn, which is really nice. So, but yeah, and then we have riding classes that we had to go through. So we have like a fundamentals of riding and then equitation. So that's just like the basic riding classes that we went through. We did both Western and English riding. And then we got to touch on some other uh, styles of riding, I guess. Like we did, oh, what was it? I think we did a reining unit. That was fun. We did a jumping unit. We did a couple of other ones. So we got to kind of explore a little bit and touch on some different disciplines. And then we had our training classes if you were in the management program, where, like I said, we went through from like weanling up to, then there was like the 2-year-old classes where we went through and you get to learn how to break horses. And then the second year we went through the advanced classes where we learned how to further their training with some advanced maneuvers. So yeah, that's,
That's cool.
yeah.
Did you guys have to work? Were you also cleaning stalls and turning out horses and stuff?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
every day. So so every day we had our own assigned stall. If you were in the training classes, you were assigned to your training horse, obviously. And then if you were in science, you were just assigned a stall or cleaning an outside lot, either one. And then, so that actually was one of our classes, is horse operation management, where it was chores basically. You had 1 day a week. You would come in morning and night for chores, just feeding, watering, throwing hay, feeding outside horses. Usually only took about an hour. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. But so you had morning and night that we would just come and do chores. Um, but yeah, so wasn't bad. And then you had to do a couple weekends throughout the semester. But yeah, that was a class he got graded for, and it was a co-requisite to training and riding classes. So if you didn't pass your horse ops, if you didn't pass chores, you weren't able to move on to the next training class or the next riding class. So
I
it
love
it was kind of nice because you kind of got to learn, like, there were you'd be surprised how many people wouldn't want to show up to chores, but it's, you gotta, in the real world, you gotta go out and feed your horses. You don't get a day off of that. So
I love that. That's so great because
yeah,
I tell people all the time with performing. Performing is like 10% of the job.
yeah, exactly.
At circuses, the animal people always work the hardest. I would be cleaning my stalls, 4 times a day at least. Because when you're the one washing your horse, you also don't want to have to rewash. So you got to keep those stalls clean and
Yeah, exactly.
never ends. Um, so lightning, you have is this, I have so many questions. Is this still a project or is this,
Yeah, so Lightning, he's a special kid. He's a funny guy.
oh,
So he came in to the school. He was donated. So most of their horses that I actually think all of them that they have were donations, either old show horses or ones that people couldn't take care of wherever, come from all different places. So Lightning came in. He was a donation. We don't know too much about him. Um, the most I've heard on him is that he was just kind of a little pasture pet for an older lady. He kind of just sat in a little pen with not much. He was malnourished. They think that he was so malnourished that it stunted his growth. So he's kind of short and a little awkward looking, but I think he's cute. He's a little combined. Um, but yeah, he came in and he started getting grain, and all his paint markings started showing up because he came in and he was all white and started getting grain. And all those paint markings started showing up, and it's just crazy. It shows just how much nutrition really matters, and it's kind of something that people just don't pay attention to as much, I feel like. And but yeah, so he kind of came in kind of troubled, very troubled actually. He had a bad biting issue, just kind of had no personal space, no boundaries, just almost had just like this terrified look in his eye 24/7, and it kind of broke my heart. He was just kind of sad. He's kind of that horse that everyone just disliked because he was just so naughty. But I'm like, I knew there was something up that just wasn't right. And well, yeah, he just, because I worked with a horse last year at school like that just had so much anxiety, like built up anger, just looks sad, just that kind of feeling. And it's like once you give them a chance, once you give them something to work toward, and their attitude changes. And that's how that horse was, and that's how Lightning is. He came to my house, so I agreed to take him. No one else really liked him or wanted him, and if I didn't take him, he would have been sitting in the stall all summer long because they didn't trust to put him out in the lot with the horses because he's such a troublemaker. Well, I brought him home. Well, a day later, he cut up his leg, so then he was on stall rest for a while. So
oh,
he's a stinker, but yeah, then he went out in pasture with the horses. And at school, when he was in the stall, he used to look like a dog chasing his tail, but he was biting at his sides because he had, pretty sure he had ulcers that bad, or just that much anxiety from being in the stall. Something, it just wasn't right. Like he would bite at his side so bad that they would bleed. Um, but so the school kind of started treating him for it. They gave him Outlast, stuff like that, helped him as best they could. He got better. He got a lot better throughout the year and through training class. But yeah, I brought him home for the summer, put him out to pasture, and he hasn't showed any of those same signs since. He hasn't bit anyone. So I'm like, it really just shows that like horses need a chance. They really do. They need someone that will help them and give them a reason to enjoy life. And but yeah,
oh,
so I get to work with him this summer, and he is still going through the training classes. So he went through the weanling through the 2-year-old class last year. So he did all of that groundwork and getting broke out to ride and stuff. Um, and I got to do some work with him because I was a TA. So that's another thing we can get into, but uh, so I get to see him grow a lot over the year. So I was excited to kind of take him home this summer, and I don't get to do too much just because he is going through the training class, so they do need to work with him there. So, but I'll take him on some trail rides. We're going on a ride this week and see how he does. So he gets to just kind of relax and have a fun summer and just take the edge off. Doesn't have to worry about a bunch of arena work this summer. So
So nice. Yeah, he deserves a summer off too to
Hmm.
spend with kids.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
we're a TA, a teaching assistant.
Yeah. So that was I tell everyone there that like highly recommend to be a TA. Like if you ever go through that program and if you're ever in the management program and are thinking about it, do it. It is I learned like just as much enough if not more like about so one of our classes was um oh no, what was it called? It was instructing horsemanship. That's what it was. Where you learn to teach classes. Um but I learned more being a TA than I did in that class just because you get so much hands on and you work with so many different horses, so many different people. And I kind of got a good opportunity that year, especially because we had so many people in the weanling and yearling classes. We had 3 classes and 2 were running at the same time. So I kind of got to be around all 3 of those classes. And in the combined class, we had it was like 12 people. So we had 12 students and 12 babies running around in the arena. It was chaos, but it was an amazing opportunity. It was awesome to be a part of that. Yeah, I loved it. I learned so much being a part of that and so much about even just training in general because you get to see like a different perspective on everything than if you're there working with the horse. And it helped my training a lot being able to watch that also. So
Yeah, I know you like teaching, and that helps a lot. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be surviving summer camp with me. But
yeah.
I do, and you have gotten a lot of compliments, especially from the adults too, about your teaching.
Oh, that makes me feel so good.
Good, you deserve it. But I always think too that you learn the most teaching it to other people
You really do. You really do.
because you now have to be the expert. People have to turn to you to answer questions. So it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I better know this stuff and be prepared to answer some questions.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
um did you guys have extracurriculars? Like could you be on a team outside of your chores, outside of your classes? Did they have competitive teams or clubs or anything like that?
So they do. We did have a class, IHSA, which is normally, an extracurricular. But at my school, it was a class that you would take. And normally they would travel and compete, but our program was getting a little bit smaller, so they didn't have the extra staff to take that team and actually go compete with them because normally it would be our barn manager she taught the class, but she wasn't able to because she can't run the barn and go bring the class to competitions and stuff because she has to be there on the weekends for chores. And our other instructors would have, but they can only teach so many credits.
Hmm.
And they were pretty much booked up for everything they could teach. So it was kind of just one of those years that just or a couple years that just it didn't work out. But it was a good opportunity for people to keep writing, more if they wanted more practice throughout the week and more experience, or a different instructor. Sometimes students just don't learn as well from one person as they do from another. So it's kind of nice just to get extra help from someone else, a different point of view. At least that's the way I saw it. I think it was a good opportunity. I haven't never did the class just because my schedule's already so packed the way it was. There was a driving class that was, I mean, that was just a elective, but um, a lot of those you got to do at the student show too, so it kind of counted some extra credits. But as far as like other clubs and stuff, just for equine, there really wasn't much, just because it is such a small program, and you only have so many students, and not all of them want to travel, and you have to have a group big enough. But when there are years where the teacher can, or is an instructor that can do those kind of extracurriculars, and there's enough interest, they definitely will. So they're always looking for students to do that too. This year there was enough interest to have a judging team, so they did do that. I don't know if they went to any competitions, because I don't know if they were interested in doing that. They just wanted to do horse eval again. But they did go to some clinics, so they did get to do that. They got to travel quite a bit. Um, so yeah, it really just kind of depends on what the students want, which is really nice, honestly, just because again, we have so much freedom and we have so many opportunities to do what we're looking forward to. So it is pretty nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and there's only so many hours in the day. You're already going to class, doing chores, training horses,
Yeah, exactly.
homework. Um, this is so funny that we're talking about IHSA because I'm sitting on a saddle pad that I won for High Point Rider for I 2010, 2010, made high.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and we also I went to Illinois State University. We had a small team and we didn't have a coach. So we were the only school in our region who would travel to shows without a coach.
Oh wow.
And then when we finally got a coach, she was an eventer who didn't know anything about equitation. She didn't travel with us either, so that was kind of fun. We got through it. But for people who don't know what IHSA is, it's Intercollegiate Horse Show Association. And the cool thing is, um, it's an extracurricular, so it's like not NCAA. Most schools have it. If there's interest, any school can create a team and sign up, but you don't have to have your own horse. So you travel to shows and the host facility provides the horses. So you get in there and you just make a draw. And usually they have horses that are, a certain, like if they put ponies in there, they'll put people in categories of just height, weight. But as if, you know, then if you were a heavier rider or a taller rider, you would be, assured that you wouldn't end up on a pony. But for the most part, that was the only control they had over the situation. So I had a lot of fun when I was in college drawing horses. And one time we didn't have enough horses. So they said, like, they were tight on horses for our huge, like, flat class. So they said, okay, we're just going to measure for weight, but not height. Like, if you're tall and you're thin, you can ride a pony. And so me and the other girl on my team who are in the height category, we both drew the two ponies in the flat class.
Oh my gosh.
And I rode a pony named Slippers, and she rode a pony named Pippi. And I think I placed that grade in that class. It was funny.
Oh, that is too funny.
Um,
I would have loved to see that.
I don't remember I remember a lot of the names of the horses I drew, but I definitely remember Slippers was like this little red roan. And
That's awesome.
it's equitation and it's a flat class. And so obviously they're only judging the rider. They're not judging the horse because you're going and you're
Yeah.
pulling horses. But I was posting so fast compared to like everybody else. Oh, so
Oh,
funny. Um, there's something else I was going to ask you. I mean, Yeah, your schooling is sounds awesome. It would have been like my dream come true at the time. I was reluctant to find a riding team. Um, your goals. Now you are a recent graduate. You just graduated in May, right?
Yeah.
You got
Yep.
summer number two with me. You're working at a stable. So, what what are your plans with your new associate degree in equine management? I know, can you talk about pony parties? Like, what do you got on the plate?
Yeah. So, I mean, realistically at this point, it's kind of we'll see where it goes, but ideally, like you said, I do want to create my pony party business and get that up and running. Um, I have quite a few ponies that I would like to involve in that, and my nieces highly support it. So, um, but yeah, I've surprisingly had heard of a lot of interest around me. Like, there's people that keep talking about it. So I feel like that's a good thing to get into. I have the ponies; they're not going anywhere because my niece claims them all, so I obviously can't get rid of them. So I might as well utilize them, and do that. And it's a lot of fun. Kids love love them, and it's so good for kids too. They're such good therapy, and um, parents will do anything to get their little girl a pony for her birthday. So I feel like kind of bringing that dream come true to them is a really fun thing to see. I recently just did a pony party for one of my mom's daycare kids, and all the little girls that she invited were, the little girls that have never been on a horse or never seen a horse and always wanted to ride a horse, and we're so excited. Even if we just did a couple circles around the yard, they thought it was the coolest thing ever. So just seeing that is a lot of fun to them. So it's really enjoyable. So I want to get that up and running. I do want to continue training. I love training. I want to get more into liberty and trick training. I really enjoy that. Just the connection that you have with your horse when you are able to achieve those kind of things is so rewarding. And it's so much fun too. So I want to get more into that. Just training more in general, showing more. I really like pleasure. It's a lot of fun. I want to get more into it because we learned some at school. We kind of learned the basics of it, but we learned how to ride it. But I would like to continue that, learn, train under someone. I think that would be a lot of fun. Just kind of exploring more disciplines, I think would be a lot of fun. Just kind of touching on different things and seeing what happens, I guess.
Great.
But, yeah.
Having your dreams support you.
Yeah.
Vice versa, you support your dreams. We should do a Liberty lesson soon.
Yes. Yes, we should.
Not done
He
a
will
full,
when we're there,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
maybe he'd be fun. He's special.
Um,
But
so your pony parties, do you bring ponies to people or do people come to you?
I really could do either. Those are the kind of details that I haven't exactly worked out yet. I would like to bring ponies to them ideally. Obviously, it would have to depend on like city restrictions, stuff like that. So that's things I just have to look into more. But ideally, yeah, bring to them. If they didn't have the space, they could always come to me and stuff like that. But I do have like the pony carousels, like for pony rides that they have at like the fairs. I have one of those that's made for 8 ponies. So, but I bought it for 1,500. It was a steal. So one day when I have enough ponies to fill that thing, um, that's like far in the future, but I have it to save. But I would like to do like events, like I don't know, at fairs, things like that. Like I feel like that'd be a lot of fun too. So
Gosh, you bring the carousel, you bring the ring curb, you do pony rides, and you do a Liberty act with your ponies.
yes, I got the whole act. Like I got the whole show right there.
Love it. Do you dress them up? Do you like glitter them or like?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll get the whole unicorn horns and everything if they want. I've actually, our one pony that we have is a little Palomino. She's the cutest little thing. Her name's Jelly Bean. And I've actually had the daycare kids paint her before, and they had a blast. It was the funniest thing ever. It was so cute. But yeah, we used just kids washable paint, like the non-toxic paint, and I said, "Here, kids, use this leftover paint and go paint Jelly Bean." And it was the cutest thing ever. And Jelly Bean just sat there and she loved the attention. She didn't know what was going on, but they were petting her, and that's all she cared about. So yeah, it's awesome.
I love that. That's so great.
Yeah,
It's like it's such easy work, but they get attention, they get like stimulation, and
yeah,
it's like
they do.
it's if a horse has to have a job in order to earn its keep, it's like the easiest job they can have.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
she's lazy, so she loves it.
love That's amazing. Do you have a like a company name yet? You're working on it.
Um, Carousel pony parties. That's
Okay.
my pony party.
Love it.
Um, yeah, or carousel horses. We're yeah, but
Yay, so cute.
yeah. So
Okay, people, Twin Cities, if your kid needs ponies for their birthday, contact Danielle with Carousel Pony Parties. She's got unicorns. Just saying. I think that is like the greatest birthday party too, ever. It's so easy.
yeah,
Just hire ponies to
yeah.
come to you. All right. I love that. And you're still with me at least for the rest of the summer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So just a little side note, Danielle has been trick riding and her sister. And I'm gonna get her sister on the podcast too because her sister's going to vet school, which is
Yeah.
us horse owners were like, yeah, go to vet, come back.
Yeah.
So I'd love to interview her about her experience. And now they bring their horse and they have a saddle and they have a horse who's such a good boy and an excellent candidate for trick riding. And Danielle has done dance and figure skating, so she also and like right musical theater, so you're a performer.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
into that role of getting into like equestrian stunt work is it's like the perfect background for that. So I can't wait to see what you do now that you're out of school.
Yes, I'm so excited. Adult world is scary, but I'm excited.
It's inevitable. I mean, well, you know, just like so Danielle and I just finished adult camp last week.
Hmm.
Adult world, they're just big kids.
They really are. It's so much fun though. I love adult camp. It
Yes,
is, it's so much fun.
we have one more. We have one more kid in teen camp, and that's not this week, but next week. So we're looking at July 8th through the 12th. And then we have an adult camp on the 22nd through the 26th. So if anyone is thinking about some trick riding camps last minute, check those out. Flying Colors Trapeze. We'll be here in Minnesota before it's over. I can't believe it's July already.
I know, that's crazy.
That's wild.
So fast.
It is going by so fast. But do you have any last minute thoughts or tips for anyone thinking about a program like the one that you attended at your school? Anyone who's thinking about doing it?
Honestly, a lot of people in my program would talk about like, a lot of people graduate and they don't even use their degree. And honestly, the way I see it is even if you don't use your degree as a career, I learned so much that even would just further me in my enjoyment and my hobby with horses, even if I never used my degree as my career, which hopefully I will. I plan on it, but you learn so much, even just being involved more in the industry and just learning more about horses. If you just want to train on the side, or you want to breed, you want to get a little bit into breeding, um, just small stuff. You just learn so much. It's such a good program. I highly recommend it, even if you don't see it as a career. If you're interested, you kind of want to go that direction. You learn so much there. Um, so it's such a good opportunity, whether you're gonna plan to use it as a career or not. Um, it's good information that will last you a lifetime. So yeah,
It's hard to put a I know school can be, hard or expensive, but it's hard to put a price on like quality education. If in the end
it yeah,
for that's what you're getting and
yeah,
experiences, you know, those you can take with you. You can't take away things to, certificates, degrees, but like if you're getting quality education and a quality experience, can't top
yeah,
that. Um,
exactly. Yeah, and with that, like our instructors are like world judges. Like um Jill Paxson, she was one of our instructors for some riding classes, and she judged a world show over in Germany just this last year. And like there's a lot of different judges, trainers that come in. Our instructors are big time breeders and trainers, and they have a lot of connections too. So they send you off to these internships and they help you find these internships, and they have connections with these people that can get you out there in the industry, in the world. So it doesn't just end at your graduation. Like they push you out there and they get you out into the big world of the industry. So it's they send you off on this journey, and it's amazing. So
yeah, because this industry, like many others, networking is key.
it is. It really is.
It's key. Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you for all the information. I
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know this will be helpful for a lot of people, so always enjoy chatting with you. Got to get you out here for a lesson. Other than that, enjoy your fourth. And I'll
Yeah,
see
you too.
you sooner than later.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. Good night. Bye, Danielle.
Bye.